What you see here are all the pieces laid out for the project, and you'll notice that I've went ahead and sorted them out and put all of the same pieces kind of on the same pieces of cardboard and arranged them. Arranging them in rows will help me so that when I spray paint them, I'll easily be able to be sure that I hit every spot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use regular flat black spray paint. It doesn't matter what brand. I wouldn't go with the absolute cheapest. I don't remember how much this was, but it looked like a pretty decent brand. But be sure that it's flat and it's black. And what I'm going to do is hold the spray can about 6 inches away, and then I'm just going to go back and forth. And because I've arranged these in rows, it should be a little easier to spray paint. So here's what we're going to do. Let's see. I'm going to go back and forth over probably twice. I'm going to make sure I get the tops, and I'm not going to be able to get everything on the first couple of passes. So with it lined up like this, I can kind of be sure that I get the very tops of them and get this side that's facing me, and also get the side of the wall. So once I go over it here, let me see, did I miss? Let's see, I kind of missed that pillar a little bit. It looks like from the front side I missed a little bit of the top, so just take a moment to kind of look over it. Now I'm going to start with this side over here, and once again we're going to do the same thing. About 6 inches away. And it's better if you don't do this on a breezy day, because it's going to like blow all your spray paint away if you do. So I'm going to get it from this side. So after you get this spray painted, what I'm going to do is just take this and I'm going to flip this around like this, and so that I can kind of see the other side of it now. Or I could walk around to the other side, but the sunlight is shining here, so it's a little easy for me to see what I've got. So once again, I'm going to go about 6 inches away, and I'm going to spray down on the sides. And you can kind of see that I'm getting this side right here. Now after this is dry, what you want to do is take a look at the pieces. And if you look at the back, it looks like the back is pretty well, but if you look up, you're going to see that there's still that lot that we didn't get in the cracks. The reason is because we spray painted down on it. What we need to do is flip the piece upside down and spray paint down on it. So we're going to take all of these pieces, and the next step is to flip all of them upside down, and then we're going to hit the same walls again and make sure that once you get done, look over the piece and be sure that everything is completely painted all the way around. Okay, all of our blocks are dry and sorted, and we are ready for the next step. So the first thing you want to do is follow the plan and then assemble the blocks around the outside as the plan indicates here. Now there is something you need to be careful of when you're gluing these pieces down. One of the pieces on this room is faced the wrong direction. I'm wondering if you can spot it by looking at it. Now I have these unpainted so it's easier to see. If they were solid black, it would be really difficult to tell on the video what the orientation of the pieces are. So if I turn this around, can you spot the piece that's turned the wrong way? Well, what I'm going to do is turn this back. You've probably had enough time to see it if you're going to see it. And that piece is this one right here. This one actually needs to be turned around this way. Now when I turn it around the correct way, it doesn't look quite right. You're kind of look at this corner and you go, well, the corner looked better the other way. But here's the problem with the orientation of the piece this way. Every opening or every entrance to the dungeon should have two L-shaped pieces like this, so that they kind of form an L with the flat side on the outside and the L shape on the inside. But you notice this piece does not follow that format. It's actually turned around the wrong way. For it to be correct, I actually need to spin it around this way so it will correctly meet with all of the other hallway elements that we're going to build. Now the reason that this corner looks funky is because I did not have enough exterior corner blocks to actually do this correctly the way it should be. I ran out of blocks. But this still works. It still connects the way it should. It just doesn't look quite right. So that's one thing you need to be careful of when you're positioning the blocks. Make sure that they are orientated correctly so that the opening is actually with the flats on the outside. Now I'm going to use a Leans tacky glue for this, and what you want to do is not only glue the blocks down really well to the floor, but you want to glue them side to side. So for this particular one right here, what I'll do is I'll put glue on the bottom of it, Make sure I got a good amount of glue on the bottom of it, and it dries clear, so you can kind of overdo it a little just to be sure. And then also along the side right here, it's going to go. So this one will go right down here on the corner, and this one right here, I will go ahead and put glue on here on the bottom, and then assemble it right there. I got the pieces glued down. You can tell that they're not quite straight. What I've done is I've made a couple of L shapes out of Legos to help me kind of line this up. So what you can do is you can kind of take and push this on the side of it and go ahead and push everything down and together. And then you can use like a small L like this to kind of push in and try to get everything to line up just about as good as you can. Okay, at this part of the video, I'm cutting to the end of the project to tell you about a problem that you can prevent at the beginning of the project. So, these blocks that are labeled letter P glue on both sides of the door, and this door should be able to drop, right in here. But if you'll notice, it's a little bit tight. It doesn't really drop down like I thought. It's like, oh, it's just almost gonna go, It's just not quite there. And even on this corner here, it's just not quite there. I mean, when I created the door is actually a 1/16 of an inch shorter than 1 inch. So there should have been enough space in planning for that to happen, but for some reason, it just didn't happen. Now, the easiest way to solve this problem is when you're gluing the blocks down, take a 2-inch long block that would either be a B on the plans or a C on the plans, and put it in every opening and make sure that it will drop down and fit before the glue dries. So you drop one here, and you put one here, and you put one here. Make sure there's enough room, and if there's not enough room for this 2-inch block to fit down, just gently shove the blocks over until you have enough room so that every opening you can drop one of these blocks down in. And if you do that for every piece, like on the hallways, you do it on one end and do it on the other end, and if there's not enough room, shove all of the blocks over one way or another until this block will easily drop in. Then you won't have any trouble getting your doorways to fit in like they should.